told by a lot of people online. It's something that's been floating around for the past, I don't know, 1,000 years or so. This incorrect idea that people teach, this really interesting view of a biblical hell. And more so, what I'm trying to describe is the view of this like fire pit that people go to and burn for eternity. Basically, is what many will try to say it is in. And I just want to be clear about the word fire and like all of these other descriptions um, used to depict hell. And when we're looking at like words like fire, we have to remember that a lot of the words that are used here are more metaphorical than they are literal. They describe a literal place, but they use metaphorical language to describe literal things. People usually quote something like Revelation 20:14 or Mark chapter 9 verse 48 to support this view of eternal fire. And it's not that any other Christian like me, for example, who actually believes in hell, I believe in all of these things, I just believe that these wordplays are metaphorical of something literal going on. So to go further, this is how I would go about it. First, we have to not ignore the other passages that say the opposite. It describes hell as outer darkness, and it's by the words of Jesus. We could look at places like Matthew chapter 8 verse 12, or Matthew chapter 22 verse 13, or Matthew 25:30. When we look at these passages, it uses the complete opposite, sometimes in the same exact passage, of talking about gnashing of teeth, or fire, or, like I said, outer darkness. So, from someone looking from the outside in might say, well, this is a contradiction. Well, not necessarily. It's more so, I think these are powerful words, powerful figures of speech to describe a literal place named hell that everybody talks about. Well, it's mentioned a lot by Jesus and some of the Old Testament saints. It is like fire because of its place of destruction and torment. And yes, I mean torment, which is self-inflicted, not torture, which is someone putting it upon yourself, not, the other way around. So we need to make that clear too. It's not you being put in there and being tortured by God. It's more so the opposite. It's you causing torment upon yourself. But it's also like outer darkness because people are lost there forever. And we also see in other passages, like Revelation chapter 20 verse 3, which states that it's like a bottomless pit. So we see it also referred to like that. So I think we can mash in all of these ideas. So fire, outer darkness, bottomless pit, gnashing of teeth. I think we can all look at these things and come to a conclusion that these wordplays that are described of this place are metaphorical. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, that nobody had actually, it's kind of like the same idea of heaven. We don't have a whole lot on heaven, but we describe heaven in these types of words and types of analogies. So it's a vivid depiction of everlasting punishment, as we see of these words that we've been describing here. So perhaps the Bible doesn't even give us a physical description necessarily, just like it doesn't with heaven, except for the very tail ending of Revelation. So, in comparison, when you're looking at other things outside of the Bible, which would be like something like near-death experiences, we can see with books like Case for Heaven by Lee Strobel and Imagining Heaven by John Burke, we can see that they both have people who end up going to hell also, which is interesting. According to the Handbook of Near-Death Experiences, they report that of just 1,369 studies of people who had a near-death experience, about 23% of them had a hellish experience. Some label it even higher, closer to 50%, with more people. The higher the study is, the more it is, the higher the numbers are, in some type of way, depending on who you're looking at. But when they describe their descent, so to speak, they use words like a bottomless pit of sorrow. Some said they couldn't see their hand in front of them. Some described beings taunting them, forcing them further into this abyss, so to speak. So it's hard to go off of all of these. We can't build our entire theology just on this alone. but it can add, I think, some corroboration to what the biblical account, what Jesus and other people in the Bible have told us about hell. And I think it fits quite well. I think when we put it all together, we can see that hell is a literal place, but the wordplay used is more metaphorical than anything. Even we see that in a little bit like heaven too. We see passages about people saying, we don't know what God has prepared for us in the next life, and we can't fathom it. So we use these other words to describe what it's going to be like. Likewise with God. There's so many times that, in the Old Testament, we don't know how to describe God, so they use anthropomorphic descriptions of God. Basically applying human attributes to understand God more clearly. So we see that a lot too, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's basically it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you guys think down below.